Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendra Saunders. If this is your first time here, I am the owner of Half Lucid Jewelry. I make crowns and earrings and all kinds of fun stuff. I am the author of the Alien Pop Star series as well as other books, and I'm also a YouTuber here talking about life in New York and life living with severe allergies. I got a request from somebody to make a video talking about follow-up from my surgery that I had back in July. So I thought we would sit down and just talk about that real fast, and I could like fill you in on, how that's been going and hopefully answer some questions that I've gotten in the comments over the last half a year. So let's do it. So the surgery itself was definitely a little bit more gnarly than I expected it to be. The doctor did say that like the recovery period was going to be, I believe, a little bit shorter than probably it should have been estimated. It is surgery on your head. It is a big, serious thing. It's not just a tiny surgery. I think people kind of thought of it like, oh, this girl's getting like a nose job or something. But I don't know. I have new respect for people who have had nose jobs, because if they're anything like what I went through, it's not fun. It's not easy. You just bounce right back from. It's a lot. I had the surgery at the beginning of July, actually a couple days before the 4th of July, so I remember. And I didn't go back to work for about 10 days after that. Now, I have a job that sometimes is quite like calm and sedentary, and sometimes involves a lot of running around. It just depends. So for me, going back to work was a little bit easier than it would have been if I had been running around all the time, but it was definitely a little bit more difficult than if I had had just like, a desk job or something. So I went back to work after 10 days, but I didn't like fully go back to work for about probably 3 weeks. Like I eased in and I would do like a couple days a week. So about 3 weeks in, I was starting to feel a little bit more normal. I would say it probably took like a full month though before I started sort of feeling like myself again. And it was like really a full 2 months before I fully felt like myself again, physically, and just like recovering from a surgery. And there were definitely moments after the surgery where my anxiety would get the better of me and I'd be like, oh my God, can I even survive this? Like, am I gonna die? Am I just like never gonna heal from this? Is my body just too stressed out by this? But, those are typical like anxiety things, because it's a big deal. Getting any kind of surgery is a big deal, but getting surgery on your head is a big deal. So the surgery involved them straightening my septum, opening and clearing out these sinuses here, doing the same thing with these up here, and then also shortening my turbinates. Basically, all of that was done to provide more just plain old room for oxygen to go in. And it was so crazy to me. Once I got the stents out of my nose and I was able to like breathe in the first time without the stents in my nose, which I think I got those out 6 or 7 days after the surgery. I can't even explain to you how amazing and also strangely terrifying it was to like really get a deep breath for the first time through my nose. For the first time in I don't even know how long, like a decade, 2 decades. It was so different that I actually for a long time would feel lightheaded when I would breathe through my nose, because I was getting so much more oxygen than I was used to. My voice sounded different. My family that lives like in a different state, when I would talk to them on the phone, they would say, your voice sounds different. It sounds clearer. I heard a lot of, people saying that just in general, like I sounded less congested. And I will say, side note right now, at this exact moment, I am a little congested because I had a cold a couple weeks ago that turned into a short sinus infection. Thankfully it went away. We'll come back to that. But I also had my allergy shots today, and for some reason there must be something in here this evening that I'm just like allergic to, because for some reason in the last like half an hour or so I've been sneezing. But allergies are a different subject than sinus surgery. So Back to the surgery though, it was such a difference. It took a while to adjust to being able to breathe that well, but once I did, I could not believe how different it was to be able to lay down and get up in the morning and not be stuffy. Like, not be stuffy at all. Like, wake up, be able to breathe as soon as I get up. So I was taking Zyrtec, Singular, and a few different nasal sprays at first after the surgery, as well as doing the neti pot, you know, every day. And I have to admit, I wasn't as good about the neti pot as I should have been a few weeks after my surgery. Like, directly after my surgery, I was great about it, but it did kind of taper off. And at some point in the late summer, I went to the eye doctor because I was having some trouble with my vision, and the doctor said that I had a bunch of inflammation in this eye. She couldn't figure out why. She did tests. She looked like, you know, deep into my eye, shown all kinds of lights in there, sent me to a retinal specialist. Like, we did everything. And all they were able to determine was there was inflammation in my eye. They weren't sure. I did see the ENT at the eye doctor's suggestion, and the ENT said that it was most likely from one of the nasal steroids that I was using. So he had me stop taking that. That's just a side note. That's something to keep in mind. That did happen to me. So I was off of any kind of nasal spray though after that. And yeah, for like all of the fall, it was amazing to me when I would get sniffly, like if I was around something I was allergic to, it would come and go. It would pass. It wasn't like, oh no, I've encountered dust, I'm gonna be sick for 3 days. It wasn't like that. It was like it would come and go. And a lot of times I would notice I had more postnasal drip than I used to, but that's fine with me because that's, you know, the stuff is draining, it's going away. I was really amazed at the fact that when I was sick a few weeks ago, which was the first time I had been sick really since like late 2018, which is really great. But I did notice that even when I was like at my sickest, and I was pretty sick with a cold, I was still able to breathe through my nose, which that would have never happened in the past. Like at my sickest, I could still, it would not fully breathe through my nose, but breathe through my nose enough to be able to have my mouth shut at night and just breathe through my nose and sleep, which is something that in the past I would have been unable to breathe. I would have been awake all night, like struggling, and my mouth would have been dry and the whole thing. This was totally different, even at its worst, which was incredible. I did, as I said, it did kind of like bounce over into a short sinus infection, which is no fun. And I know that, you know, unfortunately for all of us, because of overuse of antibiotics, like bacteria is getting stronger, and a lot of people this cold and flu season have gotten sick, and then it's turned into a bacterial infection of some kind. I was lucky that it wasn't worse, to be honest. That being said, I did go on Augmentin for 7 days. Once I was done with that though, I had an appointment with my ENT. I went in and saw him, and he told me something I've never heard before in my life. He said that my sinuses were actually the clearest that he had seen all day, which is, I can't believe I even got to hear that. I've never heard something like that before in my life, like never. My sinuses are always really bad. So it was really cool to hear that. He said, I've taken really good care of them. They look perfect. He said, keep doing the neti pot, keep using the saline spray, you know, keep cleaning it all the time. And besides that, he's just going to have me kind of continue doing what I'm doing. Again, I will say I've been pretty bad about the neti pot itself. However, I discovered that there is a saline spray that comes in like a pressurized can. It almost looks like a can of mousse, especially since the top of it really does look like a can of mousse. Like you just want to like, you know, do this and put it in your hair. But that stuff I've noticed really helps because it is pressurized and it's easier. You don't have to worry about like mixing the water and the saline. You don't have to worry about getting like, you know, infected water or whatever. So I'd say that's a really good thing for it. Like if you're being lazy about doing the neti pot, get several of those, have one to carry with you, have one at home, and just like really use that a lot. That being said, again, I'm stuffy right now compared to how I have been recently, this year, or well, since the surgery. This is like basically as stuffy as it gets. And even then, check this out. you can hear I'm a little stuffy, especially on this side, but nothing like before. So for people that are wondering, sort of the summary of all of this is I have an amazing ENT. He's the one who did the actual surgery. He is excellent at what he does. And I could not be more happy with the job that he did. This surgery has been life-changing, except for this, sickness that I had a few weeks ago. My health has improved a lot since then. I was able to, which I've stopped since being sick and I need to go back to it, but I was able to start like taking up jogging very slowly, like little baby steps. But that was something I wouldn't have been able to do before. And I've slept a lot better. Like I can't even explain to you how much better I sleep now that I've had this surgery. So the surgery has been a huge success. He did a great job. I am so impressed. And if you're thinking about getting the sinus surgery, just know it's tough. It is tough. It's painful. You're going to have stents in your nose. It's not going to be fun. You're going to have to do a lot of nasal irrigation. Your body is going to be exhausted. Like you're going to be out, I would say, really for at least a month, more like 2 months if you're really honest. But it's a lot, but once you recover from it, I've been so impressed and so thankful and have felt a lot better in general. Again, except for this time right now where I am still recovering from being sick. So that's my my 6-month sort of follow-up on the surgery. If you have any other questions though, please feel free to ask me in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you've had the surgery, where are you in your recovery? Like, how are you doing? Let me know how it's been for you. And if you're new here, there is a whole playlist, which I'll include at the end of this video, with all kinds of stuff about allergy and sinus, because those things are tied together even though they're not exactly the same thing. So there's a lot of stuff about like allergy shots and the sinus surgery that I had and things like that. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. I'm going to be doing another giveaway kind of soon, so keep an eye out for that. And thank you to everybody who entered the last giveaway. That was really fun. So thank you so much for watching this, and thank you for coming by my channel. All right, I'll see you guys next time.